What's up, y'all? We are back. This is episode 20 of the Colorado Rockies Out of the Park Baseball 24 series. We are here 2030, June 7th. We're doing our June check-in here. Just finish up winning 2 out of 3 against Nashville. And a couple dominating wins, and then a close loss as well. So the Rockies sit at 38 and 22 after that, and we'll check in really quick how the team's doing. So, we're in first place by 7 games. Padres in second place, then Giants, then Dodgers in the NL West. Um, and it's been a pretty good season, highlighted by an awesome start by Zach Veen, who just got a huge extension and living up to it and then some at this point. Um, yeah, pretty much across the board, he's putting up like career best numbers, on pace for 49 home runs. I don't know if he gets there, but if he can give me 35, I'll be happy with that. And 151 RBIs he's on pace for, which again are all career highs for him. So, he's been my most consistent hitter in the save, and he's doing it again. So, really happy with how he's been. Connor Griffin picking up the slack as well. That's been left by some of these other guys. Former number 1 overall pick in 2024. Finally burst onto the scene last year and had a really good playoff run. And then this year, he's picked up where he left off, has been awesome, playing a little bit of right field, a little bit of first base, and has just been a staple in the middle of the lineup. Now batting cleanup for us. Drew Romo, of all people, third in WRC Plus on the team, batting .331, just 2 home runs, but, when you're batting .330, you're going to accumulate some OPS there, so... walking 10% of the time. He's never done that in his career. I expect that to go down at some point, but, he's on pace for 5 WAR for us. Brian Betancourt continues to hit well. He's just a 300 batting average machine at this point. Not quite as good as last year, but, he was never going to hit 340 probably ever again. So I'm happy with him. George Wolclow is coming on of late. Has been been hitting really well. Got off to a rough start, but has turned it around recently. Ben Krebs lost his starting job, actually. Not by any fault of his own. He was a fine player, but I wanted to give Casey Cunningham a real opportunity here, and he's been really good. The 87 WRC plus doesn't look great, but a 13% walk rate and playing an absolutely insanely good second base. A 3.8 zone rating in just 20 games there. Pretty incredible. So, Krebs still playing a good amount. This is a little bit messed up because I just made a roster change, but Krebs, he's still going to get plenty of playing time. I think he's starting against lefties at second base because he's a righty. Jackson Churio's been off to a rough start coming off the IL, but he's still been fine and playing a good center field, much better than Blyce was playing when he was out. Blyce, the ratings have dropped quite a bit, and it's not looking great. He's had a lot of injuries. He can't play really good center field. He can't even play a decent right field. So I don't know what the plan is for him. He's still young and he's still team controllable for a couple of years, but the injuries might be starting to rack up for him. We talked about Cunningham a little bit. Alex Mooney's been fine at short. The bat hasn't really turned into the league average bat that I wanted, but still playing a really good shortstop, and he's splitting time with Cunningham and Krebs over there, so I really like what we have in the middle infield. Palma's been bad, but, backup catcher for one of the best catchers in baseball. Not a hugely important spot. Parker Meadows has been horrible. He was definitely respectable the last year, even the year before. He got 53 WRC plus. I was okay with that as long as he played really good defense, but, a negative 31 WRC plus. I'm not too keen on that, but we have some guys coming up that I might look to replace him with. And then Daniel Cova I just called up. You'll see one guy missing, Braden Holcomb, who was just struggling a good amount, and I don't know. I'd rather give him regular playing time down in AAA and see if he can turn things around. He's 25 and the ratings haven't really developed. Kind of like how Krebs is. Krebs is 26 and there's still potential here, but at what point is this just what he is? So, still a good player, but maybe not the upside that, say, Casey Cunningham has over at second base. So, at worst, he's a middle infielder, but like a back middle infielder, but for Holcomb, he doesn't have the defensive versatility. I was playing him a little bit in right field up in the majors, but he's just like not a good defender out there. So, and we have a lot of infield options coming up. So, Covett was the next guy up. I forgot to actually change the lineups here. So, I did want Covett playing every second at DH there, and then backing up first base as well. Again, like Krups is going to get plenty of playing time. Can he play outfield? He can't. So I know Covett can play a little bit of outfield. I don't know if I really trust him, so I think we'll just do Meadows as the backup out there, and then Covett backing up there. These guys are still going to play a good amount. Krebs, maybe we'll do. I don't really want him playing third. Okay, so this will be the lineups we go with for now. And the pitching staff, for Thompson, he started the year in the bullpen, but I had an injury to a couple different guys, I think. But so I put him back in the rotation, and he's been awesome. A lot of this ERA is inflated by a really good start in the bullpen. As a starter, he's still been solid with a 4.2 ERA, but as a reliever, he threw 12 shutout innings with a 17 K per nine, just absurd. So. He's been really good though. Randy Rodriguez really struggled to start the year. Has turned it around a bit, but definitely not the pitcher he was last season. Giving up too many home runs, walking more guys than he did last year. McClanahan's been good. He had an injury, but he's been a real workhorse for me. Definitely a really solid pitcher. I'm happy we did that trade. And he has another year of control, so we're happy with that. Dan Reinwald's been solid, if not he's not spectacular, but he's been, a league average pitcher, and, it's really all we're looking for out of him. And then Chris Wood, he split time. I think he made one relief appearance, but he's been much better of late and has earned his spot there, I think, for now. Alex Philpott did go down with an injury, 3-week thing, shoulder. Not great, but he's due back, so I need to make a roster decision now, actually. It's probably going to be Evan Reifert, who has pitched well, but, he has options, and, probably, one of our worst relievers. So now it's a matter of where do I want Philpott? He was pitching pretty well in the rotation, not great, but, definitely serviceable, and he had a bunch of good starts in a row. So I think I am going to put him in the rotation. He was in there for Chris Wood. His strikeout rate just isn't high enough. And with the BABIP stuff in Coors Field, that really gets me scared when it talks about pitching him regularly. So I don't want to give up on Randy Rodriguez yet as a starter, so I'm going to wait on that. But Philpott is good to pitch, so I'm going to put him in the rotation here. And then Wood will go into the bullpen for now. Our next guy up if we need a guy. Jackson Cox has been fine, giving up a lot of home runs this season, walking more guys than he did last year. Scott Efros had a rough start to the year, has been much better recently. Kevin Garcia, kind of same story. He's been a reliable pitcher for us. Tyler Cleveland's been my third best reliever, fourth best reliever this season. He's, we almost traded him in the offseason, and I'm happy I didn't because he's dropped his walk rate significantly and kept the strikeout rates and home run rates right where they were. Gabriel Ochoa has been a revelation since we got him last year. His walk rate is minuscule. I don't expect it to stay at 2, but the strikeout rate at 16 definitely could maintain. Angel Chevalier has been awesome as well. Almost 14 Ks per 9. Walk rate's not insane. And then Jose Alvarado, an interesting season so far. The FIP is really good. He doesn't give up any home runs, but he's walking 5.5 guys per 9 and not striking out the guys that he has previously. So a lot of that has to do with the pitch mix. I've kind of highlighted that this series, you need to have a good out pitch and sinker, cutter, and an average curveball. You're not going to put away a lot of guys. Even last year, his strikeout rate was only 10.9 or 10.3, despite having really good stuff and some good pitches. Just he doesn't have an out pitch. So we're still happy with what we're getting from him, but he's never going to be that huge upside guy, strikeout wise. So Um, yeah, we're gonna keep moving forward in the season. We'll check back in. I always mess this up. What's the next thing? I guess we can. Yeah, first year player draft in about a month, so we'll be back. All right, so we're back here. It is July 11th, time for the first year player draft. Let's quickly go through what's happened with the team, though. Zach Bean continues to play really well, 163 WRC plus, 3.6 WAR, on pace for 6.5. Definitely an MVP caliber season for our superstar. And Connor Griffin has burst out of the scene, as we mentioned last video, on pace for 5 WAR, playing mostly first base. I forgot to mention, we had one big injury. Brian Betancourt, our fixture at DH for the last 3.5 seasons, I think, probably. 3.5 years, yeah. He went down, severe hip strain, out for, it was 4 months at the time. It was about a month ago that he went down. We're going to miss him for probably the rest of the season. There's a chance he makes it back for like the World Series, but I doubt it. So we called up Zach Wattis, who's kind of been waiting in the wings for 2.5 seasons in AAA, just crushing it. And he finally gets his opportunity here, and he's played very well in 46 plate appearances. Very happy with him. Cason Cunningham. We gave him the starting second baseman job, and he's run away with it. A 118 WRC plus, keeping that walk rate up and playing a spectacular second base. Very happy with he's given us. He's my leadoff hitter against righties. Krebs is still playing against lefties. He's been good. Maybe not as good as Cunningham, but just as good defensively. And they've been awesome as our second base duo. Drew Romo continues to hit well. He's cooled off a bit, but still 112 WRC plus, on pace for 3.7 WAR, keeping the great defense with 9 framing runs to this point in the season, as we're about a little more than halfway through the year, 91 games in. Miguel Bleis has turned it around big time. He had a huge run here. If we can go back to the game log. Yeah, this stretch right here, pretty much saved his season. He had a couple of 3 2-hit games and 2 4-hit games within the matter of 5 games. So, boosts his OPS from 682 all the way up to 767. Has pretty much made up to an 800 OPS plus guy, or 800 OPS guy. 98 OPS plus. So, he's turned it around big time. Also, his defense is picked up in right field, so maybe just need a little adjustment. Jackson Churio, surprisingly, has been worth less WAR than Miguel Bleis this season. Of course, he's played less games because he missed the first couple weeks of the year, but, about a league average hitter, but has played a really good center field, 2.8 zone rating. I wish we had a bit more on offense, but we'd like this to be like a 110 at least WRC plus guy with that defense. So hopefully he has a good second half. George Wolklau, I wish he was a little bit better than league average, but I guess we'll take it. He's been a pretty good defender over at third. Much better over at first, but he's definitely adequate at third base. We hope for a little bit more, but a 2.4 WAR season out of a 24-year-old, we'll take that, I suppose. How's that guy we gave up? I did check this in the offseason, but Jorge Bautista, still down in rookie ball. Yeah, his prospect status, he's number 61 in baseball now. I think he was top 10 when I traded him. He's fallen off a bit. And then Gavin Killen, who I liked quite a bit, has not made it up to the majors yet. So, the trade could still work out for them, but so far, so good for us. Daniel Covett, 307 average, but no power, which is shocking. An 82 plate appearance. He has 0 home runs. In 208 last year, he had 9. Or 201 last year, he had 9. So we hope for a little more power, but he's definitely been a really good hitter, especially these last couple games. He's been in there. So not too much to complain about him. Alex Mooney has been really good the last couple of weeks since we last picked up. I think he was at a 70 WRC plus, and he's up to 95. On pace for about 3 WAR. Defense isn't quite as good as I thought we were getting, but he's still been excellent over there. Parker Meadows probably on his way out here. As you'll see in a little bit, we're kind of looking to make some moves. So down in Triple A, we just called up Chris Bednick, who we did get in a trade this offseason with Nashville, with Mooney, for Sevelin, who is pitching really well in Nashville. Not really surprising. He just wasn't a type of guy I wanted in my ballpark with kind of low stuff and pitch to contact type of guy. But Bednick, not hitting great, but his ratings are good enough, and the outfield range is good enough where I'm willing to give him a shot over Parker Meadows at this point. We could also give Wyatt Langford a shot. Not as quite good defensively, but I would like to get his bat in there. So we'll probably look to move on to those guys around the trade deadline and kind of phase out Parker Meadows here, just because he's been so bad at the bat. He's had a couple nice games here with a hit, but he's just kind of done, I think. Then Palma's been much better recently as the backup catcher. So happy with what we're getting there. In the rotation, Ford Thompson continues to be incredible. So happy we somehow lucked out on a 20th round pick, where he's now a serviceable ace at this point. Randy Rodriguez, his stamina dropped to 40. That might have been noticeable in the last time I checked in, but I just noticed it a couple weeks ago. He's a 5 and fly guy. So, if we get 5 good innings out of him, we're happy. He's been better than how he started out. And he's actually been on quite a good roll here. McClanahan's been really, really good. He's had a couple blow-up games here recently, but, we're going to take this all day from him as like our number 2 behind Thompson. Ryan Wald had a couple stinkers recently, but he's been, again, not spectacular, but definitely serviceable. And Philpott just came back from injury, has been up and down. A couple bad starts, some really good starts in there, so we'll keep rolling with him. Chris Wood's been really good out of the bullpen. These couple games were bad, but if we look at how he's been as a reliever, you take out those 2 games, and he's been really good. So maybe he's found a role there for now. I'd still like to have him start eventually, but he's got to figure out the strikeout thing because we can't have a guy with 5 Ks per 9 in our rotation. Cox has been better, but a guy who's probably on his way out here. Scott Efros has still been fine. Definitely not as good as he was last year, and a guy we're also probably trying to look to phase out soon. Garcia in Cleveland has been really solid. Ochoa and actually I shouldn't even group these together. Ochoa's been really good, but Chivilli's been unreal. Although he's only thrown 25 innings, so maybe that's like, sample size thing. And then Alvarado's picked up the Ks per 9, dropped the walk rate, been much better recently. So the bullpen's been really good overall. So we have the 33rd pick in the draft. The Yankees have number 1. And let's see what we're looking at in this draft class. This is pitchers. So a bunch of 80 overall guys. I mean, we're used to this. Ashton Ostrom. That's definitely a baseball name, I think. Potential center fielder. Not well developed for a 21-year-old. I think I probably would pass on him if there's someone better. Mike Jersa, 2-pitch guy. That's unfortunate. Ernesto Paz. Pretty good shortstop prospect. No power, but could still be a pretty good player. Joe Richardson, corner outfielder. Pretty well developed, although the Ks per 9, not great for a 21-year-old. Philly Weaver, I mean, this would be my number 1 pick. Incredible defender, a really good hitter as well. And a college guy, almost 22 years old. I think that's a no-brainer there from what I've seen so far. Maybe some of these high school guys are good. I don't want to go through all of them. But John Straley, another nice, really nice hitter. He's probably my number 2, I'd say. I actually like this bat quite a bit. Andy Key, really nice bat, but no power. Ben Lowry, no strikeout stuff. He probably won't make it. Sergio Molina, nice player, but we're not going to get any of these guys probably. So let's see who New York takes number 1. They take Mike Jersa. Wow, that is so unfortunate because unless that changeup develops at 21, it could, but even then, he's not going to have any strikeout stuff. That's a horrible pick, in my opinion. He's more like a fifth round flyer, not a first overall pick. And they take Ashton Ostrom, who I like quite a bit. Toronto takes him number 2, and then they take this guy Ashmore. Ugh, okay. First baseman, third overall, with some really good players still on the board here. Arago is a nice player, high school guy, so there's some bust potential. Jeremy Funk, a really nice bat, but high school guys. Joe Richardson, that's a great pick. Corner outfielder, but a really nice bat. We'll go a little bit more. I want to see where, what's his name goes. Yeah, Philly Weaver. That's the guy I'm looking at. So we're at 15, and Philly Weaver still has not gone. There he goes, 18. I feel like that happened last year where the guy we wanted went like a couple picks before us, but we have 33rd pick this year, so that was never really going to happen. So here we are. We have our first pick in the draft. Ben Lowry, yeah, I wish I can take him, but he's not going to be probably anything. Brendan Dennison. Pretty well developed, 21 years old, almost 22. Durable, really good outfield defender, a lefty, which not a huge deal. We have a good mix in the outfield. We have our 2 guys, lefty and righty, rocked up long term. Just kind of looking at the high school guys, or the college guys right now. We'll look at the high school guys in a bit. Josh Hamilton, wow. He's 21, but the pitches are developed. The stuff and control really aren't. Low work ethic. This is a guy I would totally consider. Curveball, changeup, splitter, cutter, slider. Wow, so he has a cutter as his main fastball. That's interesting. But an excellent pitch mix. Just not well developed. That's the only issue with him. Garza, not really a guy I would consider. Okay, so I'm going to go look through these guys off camera. I'll come back with a pick in just a second. Okay, so we're back, and I think I made my decision. So it's between Dennison, who is an awesome player, and I would normally probably take him, but I think we have some outfielders coming up in the lower minors that can take the place of like a Blyce, and then, we still have like a logjam here. Like, it's Veen, Churio, Blyce, and Griffin. Like, Griffin shouldn't be playing first base on any other team, but that's besides the point. I think we have good outfield depth, and I'm going to roll the dice with a 17-year-old starter. But, for a 17-year-old, this dude, like, he's not bust-proof, but, like, I think he has a pretty good floor. The movement and control aren't completely zeroed out. The stuff's quite good for his age. He's 6'9", 205, with excellent stamina, and a lefty who can hold runners, which, not crucial, but it's, like, really nice to have. Fastball, sinker, cutter, like 3 fastballs, but, like, also a wipeout slider that's already well developed. Like, I don't know. It's... We're going with upside over, like, the floor of a Dennison type, but I don't know. I was looking through, and, like, these were the 2 guys that stuck out to me, and I want to go with, like, an exciting, high upside dude to maybe lead our rotation in the future. So, he only wants slot as well, so I'm going to draft him, and we'll see what happens, I guess. So for our second pick, I didn't go through, like, way deep into this, but Bob Johnson was interesting. Probably only a second baseman, though, and not really a great one. A lot of good high school guys we can take. I might go someone with a little more floor after that first pick, but I'll come back in just a second with our second round pick. All right, so I know I just went off about how Bob Johnson was an ideal prospect, but the bat is kind of irresistible here. Even if he is a adequate, like, average second baseman, I would honestly play him at first base if he develops into this bat. So, kind of reminds me of like a prime Carson DiMartini from my other save. This upside with like an okay glove, but like not something that ideal for second base, where I kind of move him to first and let the bat play. But he also has incredible speed. Can't play the outfield, but I'm okay rolling the dice on this with Bob Johnson here. So We're going to take him round 2. We have another second round pick. This is a comp pick from, geez, I have no idea who this was. I'm sure if you're watching these episodes back to back, you do, but I haven't recorded this in a while, and I don't really feel like going to check. So I would like to go with someone with a higher floor. I mean, Brad Flores, like, is this really a guy I would take? I don't think so. For the college guy, Nate Torres. Tommy Baker's interesting, definitely. You know, the floor is decent, but as a 21-year-old, I'd like it a little more developed, but I guess you're getting a flawed prospect in the second round. Like, you're not going to get a sure thing here. You know, the range is good enough to play like a fine center field and a really good corner. I'm not completely satisfied with their outfield depth in the minors. I like it, but, you know, it's not enough to, like, dissuade me from not taking Tommy Baker here. I think it's probably a good route to go. I mean, I can go with someone like Steve Calamari. I like the name. I don't really love the player. Chris Davis has been eyeing me down these last couple rounds with the excellent defense, high work ethic. But I don't know if that bat will ever play in a major league capacity. Yeah, let me hop off and I'll come back with a pick here in the second round. All right, so here in the second round, I'm going to take this guy, Oliveros Cabrera. Pretty low floor, but I didn't really like any of the hitters there, particularly better than like I would rolling the dice on a college guy, or a high school guy. So, you know, the floor is not completely zero, but it's pretty dang close. But I kind of like this pick. He's a little over slot, but we're good with that. We have tons of money to spend, so there we go. And honestly, I might take this first baseman. I like him quite a bit. We could use a big bat, like to play some first base for us. Oh, wait, actually, so Luis Robles, I like him a lot. He's impossible to sign. I wonder if I could throw like $10 million at him and if he would sign. I mean, we have tons of money. I'm cool pocketing it and or saving it for the deadline to take out some bad contract. But again, like, we got it. We may as well spend it. I might take Robles here. It's a little early for him, though. I might wait a couple rounds and then throw that dart and see if we can't get him to sign over. So, yeah, I'm gonna do the rest of the draft off camera, and then we'll come back with the results here. All right, so very quickly we're gonna go through and see how the draft went. So we went through Figueroa, Johnson, and then we took Oliveros Cabrera, mentioned him. Third round, we wound up taking this Tommy Baker fella, 21 years old. Pretty decent upside. You know, could be a good corner outfielder / like fourth outfielder type. Fourth round, we took this guy, Marquise Boyette. Pretty nice bat, not a bad defender either. Long way to go, but potentially be something. 18-year-old high school bat, Santiago Briseño was our fifth round pick, sorry. Pretty well developed for an 18-year-old. You know, could be a masher. I think it's worth rolling the dice on a guy like that. There wasn't much that I liked. Jim Murillo, a nice dart throw at a high school pitcher. I liked that pick quite a bit. Eddie Carroll, we took him in the 7th round. Good 3-pitch mix, you know, throwing darts at some high school guys. Julio Puello, he was a little bit over slot, I think. Not a bad defensive catcher. The arm, I'm not really concerned about that. High work ethic, high intelligence, really nice batting potential. Only 18 years old, so, you know, we won't see him for a couple of years at least if he does make the majors. I went for more of a high floor catcher here with a well-developed bat, Steve Boone. You know, I probably wouldn't catch him in the majors. You know, if this is his profile, I'd catch him, but more like this, probably not. He's probably more of minor league depth, but 9th round pick with a decently high floor, Jeremy Plowman. Good like fourth outfielder type potentially. Ron Smoke, high school pitcher. And then, you know, some more darts that we threw. I extended this to 25 rounds just because, I don't know, I kind of wanted some more, like, players. Because I noticed a lot of time, like, the free agent pool is, like, really, there's not a ton of guys that are, like dart throw kind of pitchers. Like, there's like some okay like guys that are young, but like I don't know. I feel like there should be more like guys that are 19 and younger in free agency. So I kind of just extended the draft just 5 rounds. We'll see how it goes. If it breaks the game or something, I'll take it away. But I don't think it's like that big of a deal. But yeah, we're gonna go up to the deadline here, and we'll come back in just a second. Okay, so we're at July 16th. All-Star games are just announced. We'll get to that in a second. But first trade of the season, and maybe one of our only ones. I'm not sure what we're doing yet, but in our quest to replace Betancourt, Brian Betancourt, who went down earlier this year, went to the trade block and found what I think might be a perfect fit in Matt Olson, who's having a really nice season. Signed for like no money this offseason after a nice year in Atlanta. And a really good first baseman, so we'll plug him right in there. And, maybe that forces Veen to be able to play some more DH because he has not been a good outfielder throughout the save. So then, that pushes Wattis and Covett into more reserve roles, which I'm definitely fine with. I wouldn't mind rolling them out there in a platoon, but, we're going for it this year. And Matt Olson adds that power punch to our lineup that I think we really need. So it's basically giving up, like, nothing in a way. Brent Bauckham, former number 2 overall pick 5 seasons ago, just has not been able to put it together for me in the major leagues. He could be a decent player, I think, but he's almost 27 years old. A good leader, good work ethic, but this is his last option year. And he's fragile, and he's just not that good of a player, and I have to have better options. As well as Elijah Clayton, who has been forced to play in Double-A for almost this entire year, although he probably shouldn't be, just because I have so much infield depth in the upper minors. So this clears out a little bit of that and gives us a nice return. I could have given up some like nothing pitchers, but I'd rather keep them around and push out some of the depth that we have, even if it is a little bit more in terms of value. So we're going to complete this deal. And there we go. Our team also appreciates Matt Olson as a leader. So, we like to see that as well. So with that move, that probably pushes Wattis to the minors. Although, yeah, he's a little redundant with Olson. But, if there's an injury, I'm definitely going to call him back up because he was a nice player for us while he was here. So Olson will slot in at first base. We're going to have Griffin play some left field, I think, because he's a better defender than Veen. And Olsen will probably bat fifth. This lineup looks a lot better than what we had out there, in my opinion. So against lefties, I think Olsen's definitely still going to start. And then Griffin will play left. So it'll pretty much be the same, although I want to get Covett in there a little bit more. So maybe every 6th game we'll play him at first base against lefties. Maybe every 5th. How are his splits? Yeah, they're not completely dramatic, but let's do every 4th there. But I do want to get Covett some at bats. But I don't know where those are going to come at this point. But so I'll probably just hope for an injury, or not hope for an injury, but plan around him getting some more at bats when an injury does come about. But yeah, this lineup's pretty scary at this point, I think. Churio's starting to heat up. Our second basemen are doing their things about league average hitters. Cunningham a little bit better than that, but, they're really good players at second base. And then hopefully Wolkow can finally be the player we think he can be. And then in the outfield, there's a bunch of beasts and Veen as well. So, honestly, I don't see what else we really need. Maybe another top-end bullpen guy. But I was looking around. There's not a ton that I love. Matt Brash would be a fun player to get and put him in the bullpen. But also, he's making $20 million. I don't know. Clase, he could probably pitch in my ballpark, but I want someone who has put away stuff. Actually, this guy was quite interesting. Colin Selby. I didn't look at what they wanted as a pack. Yeah, they want some real players. Unfortunately. This guy, Tamares, is really interesting. Probably going to want a good return for him, though. Albert Brave's still out there kicking. Wow. Recording this the day after him and Severino just had that huge collapse for the Yankees. I'm sure you non-Yankees fans will have a good laugh about that one, but I'm not happy about it. But yeah, he collapsed in that game. Karinchak would be interesting. He suppresses the long ball pretty decently. Although he is an extreme fly ball guy. I don't really care about that much, but, I'm not going to favor those guys particularly. Give Max Meyer another shot. I mean, he's been okay. He's been good for New York, but it's not been great when I've had him on my team. Gavin Stone, another former player on our squad. Who did I trade him for back in the day? That was Justin Steele. How's he doing? He wasn't great for Chicago last year, but he's been good this year. Let's see. Tremaine Cobb hasn't made the major. That sucks. He probably should be. Cal Mitchell's bounced around. Michael Gupton hasn't made the majors. Case Williams, free agent. So, we didn't give up that much. Stone's a nice pitcher, but... yeah, I'm honestly cool rolling with what we got. Maybe like Will Klein. Yeah, they don't want too much for him. Fastball, curveball, a little bit of stamina, suppresses the home run ball decently. He hasn't really pitched this season at all in the majors. Yeah, they're definitely selling low on him. I would totally grab Will Klein. Ground baller, but good wipeout stuff. Does he have any he's out of options. That's fine. But who is he going to replace on this team? I want Jackson Cox out there. Efros is a nice change of pace guy. Then, like Cleveland and Garcia both been good. I don't know. I think we'll probably just roll with what we got in the pitching department. I think the pitching hasn't been a problem, really. The starters could be better, but, we're in Colorado. Like, what are you going to get? We're first in pitching war. Like, this is about as good as it gets in the rotation, I think. We have 5 guys that I'm really confident in, then Wood and Cox I would give starts to as well. Cox just had a really nice start, actually a spot start. And he's really turned his year around. So, I think this team is set to make a run, barring injuries. We're up 11 games in the division, so we can kind of coast. But let's check out the All-Stars really quick and then probably hop out of here. Unless something really comes about and we make a deal, but I doubt that at this point. So, AL All-Stars you can check out here. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Vladimir Guerrero was on the trade block, but he has 10-5 rights, so can't trade for him. Mike Trout's still an All-Star at age 38. Yeah, I was looking at his stats, and to say he's been, healthier than he has in a lot of OOTP saves I've run through. 654 home runs, a legit shot at 700 here. So, and he hasn't been hurt really. So, I'd like to see that from Trout, who just went down in real life, unfortunately, with the wrist thing. But apparently Logan Gilbert made the team, pitching 46 innings. Okay, Aaron Nola pitched 142. 150. Whew. Where did they get him? So he signed an extension with Philly. Okay. Oh, that was in real life. Sorry. Was it? No, that wasn't in real life. So that was a real extension, and then opted out. Signed a 4-year, $147 million deal with San Francisco 2 years ago, and has just been the best pitcher in baseball for 3 years. So, whatever. That sucks. I wish we could have had him, but it's fine. Corey Thompson makes the All-Star team along with Jose Alvarado in the pen. So we got a couple pitchers. I don't remember the last time we had like multiple pitchers, if ever one. In the lineup, we have Drew Romo, who's the starting catcher for the NL. Love that. Is that his first team? First All-Star team for him at 28. And probably his best season, I would say. Surprisingly, no one in the infield. And then Zach Veen in left field, he'll start. And then Connor Griffin will start in right, or not start, but he'll be in right field. 3.3 WAR season. So his first All-Star team and his first full season. Looking like he could be the Rookie of the Year this season. So we took him number 1 overall in 2024. So it's been a long ride to the majors, but he's fully arrived here, and Zach Bean continues to do his thing. So we're gonna sim up and probably up to the deadline. I don't think we're gonna make any more moves, honestly, but we'll be back in just a second. All right, so we're back just about the deadline, and I'm gonna stand pat with everything else going on. So if we need bullpen help, this guy Gary Rodriguez, who we got in the offseason, he's been up for 1 game and pitched really well, but he's mostly been in the minors since we've had no pitching injuries. One more update: Randy Rodriguez, I'm moving him back to the bullpen. I know we had an awesome year last year, but he's not giving me more than 5 innings, and it's just taxing in the pen. So I'm putting Chris Wood back in the rotation for now, and Rodriguez will be our probably 8th inning guy. I'm gonna put Cheville back to the 7th, and this is one of the best. This just deepens our bullpen so much. Chris Wood's a good long man, but having a lockdown reliever and then a good starter is better than having a starter who's not going to get me innings and a nice long man. Basically, I'd rather have this high end guy back here. So that's the logic behind that. All of these guys will hang around for now. I mean, Cox, I thought about trading him, but I don't think his value is high enough to capitalize on it, and I still like him as a pitcher. And then I guess Cleveland I could send down if I need to. He's still got a couple option years. I don't think he can refuse a demotion at this point. But that's where we stand right now. I'm cool with this this lineup. So actually, I forgot to mention this. Connor Griffin went down with a 4-week injury, hamstring strain. Not too serious, and he'll be back by the end of August, beginning of September. So not too worried about that, but we did call Braden Holcomb back up to the majors. He's played in a couple games and gotten a couple hits, so happy with what we have for options. At least, I'd rather have Griffin in there, but Holcomb's a good guy to bring in. So that'll do it here in episode 20. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time with probably playoffs, I would assume. Yeah, we'll talk to you later. Bye.